It's me, Kazuya Takashi. I hope everyone is having a good day. I want to read you guys a journal entry that I did this morning. And the reason why I want to read it to you is because after I did that journal entry, I realized just how important journaling actually is. I've heard it many times and I've been journaling, like for the past 2 years. I've been, writing shit in my journal, writing down my thoughts. And I mean, I must say, I feel like today is one of those days when I'm finally seeing the results. I'm reaping the fruits of all the hard work I've been doing. I've seen it quite a bit on other days, but today I felt like was quite significant for me, because I went on a walk this morning in my neighborhood and I saw one of the guys I used to be friends with back in my high school days, and it triggered me because I went through a lot of trauma with my friends, with my high school friends. Of course, I volunteered to be a part of that trauma. So here's the thing about trauma. Trauma is it's like a two-way street, especially when you're not a child anymore. Of course, I was still a child because I was still in high school and my parents were still taking care of me. So I don't blame it on myself that I went through the trauma with my friends. I don't blame it on my parents either, because I've also done bad shit to other people. I've done horrible shit to other people. I want to make that clear. I'm not a victim. I'm also a perpetrator. And that's what trauma does to people, by the way. Children who go through trauma are set up to become abusers when they're adults, which is why we have abusers all around us today. It's literally people walking around with wounded inner children, and they don't realize it. And their wounds they are inflicting upon others, upon their children, upon their friends, upon whoever, their spouses, you name it. That's actually what's happening. Okay, so I'm gonna read you my journal entry, because I was so proud of myself when I saw myself write these things down unprompted. Hey, no one told me to journal. This was something I'm doing for myself to just keep my mind centered and balanced and not fucking about doing whatever it wants, because that's also the inner child. When you feel like you're out of control of your life and your mind, it's usually because your inner child is running your life. But I'm gonna be making a whole lot more videos about this, guys, don't worry. Anyways, I'm gonna read you my journal entry. I was thinking about Jack on my walk today. Jack is an old childhood friend. We were friends pretty much the whole of high school. He was one of my friends and we lived in the same neighborhood, and I was friends with all the friends he was friends with as well. Okay, just for context, no? Alright. So I was thinking about Jack on my walk today and how I always felt like he had something I didn't. Confidence, the ability to believe in yourself and who you are and not to think any man better than you. I remembered all the feelings I had hanging around him, sometimes inspired, sometimes envious. Eventually, I would finally see that none of these niggas were my friends. The niggas that Jack was friends with as well, who I was also friends with. Eventually, I would see that none of these niggas were my friends. They did not care about me. They didn't care about how I felt. They didn't care about my happiness, my joy, none of that. They only cared about what being my friend came with. So the benefits that came with being my friend. And those things were weed and being on camera. I was known back in the day for just being the video guy, the guy with the camera who shot the music videos and stuff. I did it for a while, and that was generally I feel like one of the only reasons why I fit in so well with those guys as I did, because I brought value to the group, which is a fair I guess way of determining whether or not someone should be a part of a group or not. What do you bring to this group? You can't just be a freeloader. You've got to put in the work, type of thing. So it kind of makes sense, but let me continue. To be honest, that's how I gained favor with these guys. The words I'm using now are very important. This is how I gained favor with these niggas, which means to begin with, I didn't have favor. Okay? I wasn't necessarily their cup of tea. Okay. To be honest, that's how I gained favor with these guys. I showed them that I can bring something to the table. Truth is, I wanted to be valued. I wanted to be important. I wanted respect. I used my potent weed and my video skills as a way to prove to these guys that I am worthy of something, worthy to be paid attention to, worthy to care about. Problem with that is the foundation of such friendships usually tend to crack under life's normal, usual pressures. I saw these guys didn't care about me whenever I was going through a tough time. I saw that they used my pain, my hurt, and my childhood wounds, which I was unaware of at the time, for their own entertainment. So they made jokes about me at my own expense. Funny thing is, I believed I deserved it somehow. Like it was my destiny to be made fun of, a mockery of, just for me being myself. 10 years later, I see that nothing has changed. So 10 years, after a whole 10 years, 10 years ago, that was the last time I spoke to these guys, like as on a friendship level, because we all went to university and life changes after high school. 10 years later, after I've come back to the very same neighborhood, I see that nothing has changed. I still see the same kids I used to hang out with, but they look more ugly now. Yeah, obviously life has happened. Some of them are fucking each other's baby mamas. It's ugly. It's like they're friends, but they know they're not friends. It's the most fucked up shit ever. And right now, in the moment, I cannot help but feel grateful that they never accepted me for who I was. I'm glad I wasn't able to fit in. Because when I look at the same guys now, it's genuinely not a world I ever really, like when I think about it, it's not something I wanted for myself, the way those guys were living and me trying to constantly mold myself to that. It wasn't what I actually wanted. I understand why I felt the need to seek their approval, and many other guys and women alike who lived similar lifestyles. My parents never helped me to love myself, so I would constantly spend time outside my home seeking love from other people through people pleasing. This was the main state of being my whole life. So it was like the main, like it was how I existed. This is how I moved through life, like my entire life. I make myself small, make jokes, provide high value, and make the other person feel good about themselves, make their problems my own, and help them figure it out. Because of this belief that I developed in childhood due to my parents being emotionally negligent and abusive and manipulative, I always chose to lose in life because that's what I was told as a child, or that's how, like, as a child, that's what it was like. I never won. I was never good enough for anything, I always chose to lose in life, to let people use me, walk all over me, say what they want about me. There were times I got angry, but I felt wrong for doing that because parents convinced me it was wrong to do that. I would stay friends with people for longer than I had to, give them my energy even if they hurt me. Because better the devil I know than the devil I don't. I didn't even know there was an option to not have a devil in my life in the first place. But the Matrix will convince you that knowing a devil in your life is the only way to survive and move forward and succeed in this world. It has even become such a popular saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. A long time ago, I wanted to be on my own. When I was 17, I already knew what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have any more friends, but I was also scared of being alone. I didn't understand why. All I knew was that being alone means no one to support me and validate my worth. My whole identity and self-worth came from other people, so every time I tried to be on my own, I would end up self-sabotaging that journey in one way or another because being with myself was way worse than being with the devil. Now I want to make an active effort to purge all devils in my life. I want to abide by the generational toxic and traumatic laws that govern the matrix of society that I live in. I would rather be free, even if it meant everyone laughed at me for it. That is not only a life worth living for, it is a life worth dying for as well. So I mean, when I saw myself write that, I realized like I could be nothing but grateful to myself. To me, I didn't need anyone else to see it. I mean, I'm sharing it now, yeah, sure. Because like I'm proud, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm very proud of myself and I have every right to be. But I'm sharing it more importantly because I just want to show people the power of writing down your thoughts over and over again to know who you are better and what you want, so that you don't find yourself constantly having to explain yourself to people or trying to prove things to people that you don't even have to in the first place. Yeah, so I hope that video helped. And have a good day, guys.